And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay here because generally I do this with my 6-hour class, but today I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to, for a change of pace, I'm going to do a screen recording with my 2nd-hour class. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, you know those screen recordings that I'll post from time to time? Well, I've done it twice now. This is going to be another one of those, all right? Because today I'm going to talk to you about formatting links, hyperlinks, formatting tables, okay, and kind of review formatting your backgrounds, okay? Because I went over that very briefly as far as the backgrounds go, but I want to kind of reinforce that so that everyone is on the same page with that, okay? So what you did was you threw together 2 HTML files and a CSS file, okay? Hopefully you linked your CSS file to your HTML files so that they will be able to be formatted by that CSS file. If you didn't do that, take a quick moment to do that right now. If you don't quite remember how to do that, I will show you quick up here, all right? So, side by side, I have my HTML file, I have my CSS file. Notice the file names, one word, no spaces, file extension of HTML. Then over here is my CSS file, same idea, with a file extension of .css. Okay? Now, up here in my link type is where I need to add my CSS file. Now, please pay special attention to this because this is where I'm still seeing issues, okay? Some of you are going through when you're going to add this and you're deleting way too much. Pay attention. The only thing that you're going to delete is where the href is, okay? So href equals quote, delete what is between the quotes. When you do that, you should still see that href equals quote, quote. At that point, you're going to go find that CSS file and drag the icon in there. Now, make sure that that CSS file is saved because otherwise you won't be able to grab that, that icon there, okay? Yes?
Where does it say before style sheet?
Link type,
Right there.
REL, relation. Yep. And once you do that, your CSS file will be linked, okay? Obviously, you want to make sure that that's the same on both HTML files because you have 2 in that case. Another thing to pay attention to, and the other thing that you're going to change in that header code is your title, okay? What's that? Yes, both of them need to be linked to your CSS because that's the only way it'll be formatted. Okay, are we ready? All right. Now, I don't have as much content on my files as you do. I hope. Okay, because I told you to go ahead and add some p tags and some tables and some links and stuff like that. And so that will help you out right as we go, okay? I'm just going to throw one in here quick. And what I'm going to do, you don't have to add this. You already have p tags. I'm going to add this to my other file as well. And I'm just going to test it to make sure that it shows up. Sure enough. And sure enough, okay? And once we have that, I want to first talk about hyperlinks, okay? Now, as you can recall from when we were just doing HTML, hyperlinks allow us an opportunity to click on some text or click on an image, and it will take us to another file, okay? Whether that be an external location such as centralmontcalm.org or an internal location such as another HTML file that we've created, okay? That is what a hyperlink does. Currently, you see 0 hyperlinks on either of my pages. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head on over to my code, and on the first page, I'm going to add a hyperlink. Okay? So I want to add some text that will be more adaptable to a hyperlink. So it says this is a p tag with some content. Click here to go to my other page, okay, because I have 2 pages. And when I do that, the word here plays in well to a hyperlink. Click here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that a tag with an href attribute, okay, and then since I want the link to end upon the conclusion of the word here, that's where I end my A tag. Does that make sense? Okay. So I decided that I want this to go to my other web page. Okay. If I want it to go to an external page, at this point I'll just type in the web address of wherever I want to go. And I'll test that out for you right now too. Just like that, okay? An easier way to do this would be to actually go to your browser, go to the web page, and copy and paste the URL, okay? But since I happen to know this one off the top of my brain, oops, wrong one. There you go, okay? And you can see now that it is hyperlinked. And I click to it, and I go to it, okay? So it works. Now, I told you that we could also do an internal link. Okay, it's going to look the same in terms of the tag. Okay, notice that it looks exactly the same. The only difference is now I'm taking my other file and I'm dragging it into where I would generally put the web address. Test it out, and it works. Okay, page 2, page 2. Okay, not a lot different. Okay, but you can see that it did actually link from one page to the next. Any questions? That's just a quick review. Now, the nice thing about CSS is it actually allows us to format our hyperlinks. Okay? And it's actually very, very easy to do. So maybe we're sick of having just purple hyperlinks or blue hyperlinks as they appear before they're clicked on. Well, in order to change that, all we need to do is add an A tag in our CSS with a colon. It looks a little bit different, and link, okay? And it's as simple as throwing in a color, all right, just like that. Now, don't do anything yet because I want you to follow along. You're going to notice that nothing changed, okay? Because all I did was format it for a link that hasn't been clicked on yet. Well, we've clicked on this link to test it out. So what you're going to see is I'm going to add several different ways of formatting it. Hyperlink if I visited it, which is the one that we have. And now you'll notice, for those of you especially sitting up front, that this changed to green. We can also format our link so that if we hover over it, it'll change to a different color. What's that? Yeah, like I normally do? Yeah. Yep. Now you'll notice if I hover over it, it changes to yellow. And there's one other one that we can commonly use as well. It's called Hyperlink Active. This one, just for whatever reason, lets you know that you're clicking on it. So when I'm actually holding the link down, wow, there we go. You'll notice that as I have it held down, it turns blue. And when I release it, it goes there. So, back to the code. Here are the 4 ways for the different stages of your link that you can format a link. Go ahead and play around with that, please. And while you are doing that, I am going to add some more content.
That takes me off. Things I got lost.
You know, you might have to hold the record.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. Pretty much, you can just throw away everyone's bracket in America. Well, no, yeah, so far, but like all of like a ton of schools have gone up such like crazy. Somebody that actually has to stop the losing. And the somebody that has to do that. What? Oklahoma State? You're a liar. I'm not lying. You're a liar. You're lying. Lying straight to my face. I don't do Oh, yeah.
Okay, we good? Okay, now I'm going to go back and revisit this stuff, but for the sake of doing this recording right now, I want to move on and talk about formatting your tables. Okay, so if you have a table that was visible for you, go ahead and go to that, meaning it worked. Okay, I happen to have 2 pages, one with a table on each, and what you're going to notice is that each of mine are formatted differently. Okay, now just for example's sake, I have your basic tables up here. All right. I didn't use these as tables to format my page because I want you to be able to see them as I make changes to them. Okay. Now, if we go back to my code, my CSS code that is, let me go ahead and make this a little bit larger for those of you sitting in the back. What you're going to see is that I actually took my tables and I formatted them. And I formatted each one differently. Okay? I added a classification to one of them, as you can see. All right? And what that did, in most cases you'll see this, obviously, is that it made each one different. Okay? Whereas one has just a green dashed border, the other one has a red solid border. Okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at my code, and I'll allow you to copy that. And you can take a look at what I did. Okay? So for the first one, okay, it has a 1 pixel solid red border, all right, with a width of 500 pixels, a height of 100 pixels, and a margin left, okay, meaning I aligned it from the left 300 pixels, okay. So if we head on over to our first page, you will see that I have exactly that, okay. All right, do you have it? Why not? This won't work? Okay, we'll take a look at that when I'm done, okay? Everybody else ready to move on? Okay, let's go ahead and break this down. All right. So, first, let's talk about my home page, okay? I just have this basic red table on here, this red bordered table, okay? And all I did was I went ahead and selected the table as the item that I wanted to format, okay? That tells the browser, hey, anytime you see a table tag, okay, you are going to format it, all right? Wrong one. Okay, so in this case, it found a general table tag, and it's going to give it a border of 1 pixel solid red. Okay, as you can see, it gave it a border of 1 pixel solid red. Now, very easily can change that. Okay, throw it to 6 pixels. Okay, and you'll notice that it updates. All right, I can change this to dashed. Okay, there's some variations that I can use. I can change this to yellow. All right, and of course, you know that there's lots of color codes out there. All right, so we can update this. In terms of making it fill up space, all right, I decided to make it go 500 pixels wide. All right, I don't have to add a width attribute to it. Okay, I can do like that, and you'll notice that it shrinks considerably. Or I can go ahead and throw that width back in there. I can make it 800 pixels. You can also do it as a percent, but know that when you do it as a percent, as you resize your page, it's going to move with your page, okay? It won't stay locked in, all right? Because you're saying as a percent of the viewable window, all right? So you probably don't want to do that. I also adjusted the height. That's something you can play around as well. And one thing that I think is very important is this allows you to place where your table lies on your browser. Okay, it's simply a margin left. Okay, so we're talking from the left margin, how many pixels over. Okay, in this case, I have it set at 300. Okay, I can go to 50. I can change it however I choose to do so. Okay, and the nice thing about that is it also locks it in, meaning if I just set it to auto ratio, it would move as I move the screen. All right, this keeps it locked in, which is preferred. Any questions? All right. One more thing here as far as tables go. You're going to notice that I set the TD as well, so any TD will have text align center. All right. And you'll notice that that applies to both tables, okay, because I don't have classifications in either of my TDs. Oops. So that actually applied. Notice the text in both tables are centered, okay. If I were to add a classification to one of my TDs over here in the HTML, that would vary that. But since I didn't, it just applies to any instance of a TD. Okay. Let's see here. So that's pretty straightforward as far as that goes. The last thing I wanted to review quick, and we talked about it last week, is your body. Okay. Formatting the body of your web browser. Okay. Very easy to do. There's 3 main ways to do it. All right. One is background color. Just like that. Okay. Now, if you want to do an image, which you can do, but I don't recommend it, then you need to change this to image. Okay. At that point, you'll throw in URL with your parentheses, and you will add an image, okay, and that will add an image to the background. Now, remember from last week that there's ways to have it so it doesn't repeat, to center, and other ways to format that image, okay? And then, of course, if you want to add both an image and a color, you simply put in background, you add your color, and then let me see if I have an image on my desktop. Oh, yeah, I do. We'll just use this. Just to show you, for example's sake. There you go. Now, since it's repeating, you can't see my color. If you are trying to do an image, then no, you have to put background dash image. If you're trying to do just a color, it needs background dash color. Okay? There you go. Any questions? Okay.